Okay, hello. Oops, and welcome back to my channel. I am playing Donkey Kong Country. I'm still trying to do platform perils. I'm not doing well at it at all, but that's okay. I'm gonna keep trying. So, oops. Also, you guys want to hear like a crazy story what happened like this past week to me and Luke. So, Lucas is 10, for those of you who do not know. It's my 10-year-old son, and a friend of mine whose fiance died last May. My friend Tiffany, she lost her fiance Randy, who was also my friend. We had the same birthday, we're birthday twins. But anyway, she recently started dating again. She met a guy, and she's been seeing him for like a month. And she wanted me to meet him. And she also wanted him to meet her kids because it's getting to the point where she can't just keep like leaving her kids to go hang out with this guy. She's got 3 children. She can't just always be gone. So she was like, all right, I want him to meet my kids in a casual setting. I'm not gonna, tell them that this is some serious boyfriend or anything. And, just casual, guy she's seeing, whatever. I think she literally just said her friend. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, she wanted her children to meet him, and she also wanted me to meet him. So she asked me if me and Lucas would meet her and her 3 kids at the park. Her oldest son is friends with my youngest son. And, so I said yes. And, so me and Lucas went to a park. It's like the next town over. Because the park that's like a little bit closer is closed currently. They don't open till after Memorial Day, I believe. But anyway, Lucas and I drove there. Well, my van has been having problems with the power steering fluid. It was leaking. We did not know where the leak was coming from. We just knew that it was leaking. And so we constantly have to put more power steering fluid in, or else the power steering stops working. And not that long ago, I was coming home from work, and the power steering started going out, and then the battery light came on. So I called my husband, and I was like, hey, power steering's not working, which, whatever, that's normal. But the battery light just came on. Like, do I need to come straight home? And he was like, yes, come straight home. I'm gonna have to clean it up or whatever. So I got home and he told me that the power steering fluid will leak on the belt, and it'll make the belt slip, and that's why the battery light came on. So I needed to bring it home or whatever. Anyway, so he got it all cleaned up, and it was fine for a while. And so he told me on Tuesday that it was okay to take it to this park. Well, as I pulled into the park, I noticed that the power steering was starting to get tight. And I was like, oh man. So I figured that before I left the park, I would ask Tiffany if her or her boyfriend knew where I put my power steering, which I wish I would have just popped the trunk and looked, because it's very clearly labeled. But I called my husband, and he yelled at me and told me he didn't have time, and he showed me several times, and it's not like he could walk me through it, when he could have just said there's a reservoir in there that's clearly labeled power steering fluid, and then I would have found it immediately. But anyway, that's not the point. I wasn't 100% sure where the power steering fluid went, but I had planned on checking and asking someone. Okay, that's important. I had planned on checking before I left the park. However, we're at the park. I meet the boyfriend. Goes well. He's a nice guy. Everything's fine. And then finally I'm like, all right, I gotta go home. Feed my kids. Gotta feed my husband. No deal. Everything, like I said, everything's going well. Or no, not. Oh, sorry. I'm trying to concentrate on the game and also concentrate on my story and not die. Anyway, me, Tiffany, and her boyfriend are all standing by her car. It like was her car in the parking lot, then his car, and then my car like on the other side of his car. And the boys, like Lucas was over by the van, and her boys were just kind of like playing in like the sand pits, like a volleyball thing. It's got a bunch of sand. And we're standing there talking for a while, and then finally I'm like, okay, Lucas, we're for real gonna leave now, get in the van. So he goes running towards the van, and all of a sudden I hear screaming, and her son, Tiffany's oldest son, Philip, I was like, Tony, come quick, Lucas fell. He's really hurt. And I'm like, oh man. So I go running over there, and the way he sprawled out, I'm like, please, Lord, tell me my child did not just break his arm. So, I'm like walking up to him, and I'm trying to, be calm and not freak him out. And I get up and I just look at his arm. Like, my first thing is to just like grab. And his hand was like all scraped up, and I'm like, okay, good. His arm's fine. Not broken. And I'm like, baby, where are you hurt? And he says, my knees, mommy, my knees. And I'm like, oh boy. So I look, and both of his knees are all scraped up, like just so scraped up, crooked. The one knee is like, he took off a lot of layers, and it's big. And so, I mean, nothing was broken. Obviously, he didn't need a hospital. He didn't need, he literally just needed a hug and a kiss and some Band-Aids. That's it. But he was in a lot of pain. Like, it's painful. If you've ever felt, he was wearing shorts also because it was really warm that day. Like, I think it was 70 degrees that day. So he was in shorts. So, asphalt and shorts, and yeah, it's just not a good combination. He was definitely feeling it. And so, I like slowly helped him up and got him to the van, and he's crying his eyes out, and he's so upset. Just over it, he just wants to go home. And I was like, do you still want me to stop and get dinner? Because we were supposed to grab Burger King on the way home. And I was like, we don't have to, buddy. We can just go straight home, whatever you want. And he's like, no, I want to eat. Let's grab the food. I'm like, okay. Okay, we'll grab the food. So, we go through Burger King drive-thru. Thank goodness Tiffany was behind me. She decided, because her kids heard Burger King, they decided they wanted Burger King as well. So, they're behind me, and my battery light comes on, and I'm like, uh-oh, last time Bob told me to go straight home, and I was literally a block away. What do I do? So I called him. He's like, well, just hurry up and get home and go as fast as you can, and my bike's tore apart, and there's nothing I can do, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, just making sure that I could, actually drive this home. So Tiffany texts me, and she's like, I'm right behind you, haha. And I was like, thank goodness, because my van is effed. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm glad you're behind me. She's like, okay, well, I'm going to follow you. I'll follow you home. We're going the same direction anyway. Like, she lives not far from me. So it wasn't out of her way in any way to follow me home. So we get our food, and we're driving. And, Lucas is in the back seat, upset, in pain. And at first, Tiffany was like, well, if you want to pull into a parking lot, I might be able to help you. And I'm like, well, I don't really want to pull over because I'm supposed to just get straight home. I don't know what's going to happen with this battery if I, try to pull over. Plus, Lucas is in a lot of pain. I just want to get him home. And she's like, okay, that's fair. So, we drive. Me and Lucas are driving down the road. And I decided to turn on the radio, see if I can, make him feel better. Listen to some music or whatever. And, got the radio going, we're driving. Like, the power steering's out, so it's really hard to steer, but other than that, it's not terrible. So then, the dash lights start coming on my dashboard, one by one. And I'm just kind of whispering to myself, oh no. Definitely not a good thing. Every single dash light's coming on. Then all of a sudden, the radio stops working. And I'm like, oh boy. And then my speedometer just stops. And my dash goes out. And this is when I know that the van is about to die. Oh, and it revved up like when your RPMs are too high and your transmission really needs to shift, but it's not shifting. It started making that noise. It was annoying. I And so of course, then Lucas starts freaking out because he thinks it's gonna explode. And I was like, buddy, like, cars don't just explode like that. Like that's not how that works. But anyway, so yeah, so then we have to pull over to the side of the road with no power steering, by the way, which is no small feat. And then Lucas is crying like really bad. Like now he's tired, he's hungry, he wants to go home. His knees hurt. He's scared. Like he's over it. Thankfully, my friend Tiffany was behind me, so I called my husband, told him what was going on. He, you know, kind of freaked out a little, like it was all mad, like I intentionally did it, but you know. He was in our neighbor's garage, so he ended up asking the neighbor to drive him to come and like rescue us. At first they thought they were just going to jump the van, like they thought that like the battery was just dead, so they thought they would just, you know, jump the van, no big deal. And Tiffany sat there on the side of the road with me for like 45 minutes waiting for my husband and my neighbor to get here, which was so awesome of her. And so they come and they pop open the trunk and take one look, and they're like, okay, you're not going anywhere. Because apparently a belt melted. Like, I didn't even know that was a thing that could happen, but apparently it is, and it did. So a belt melted. Oh my god, we did it, guys. We beat this level, thank goodness. So anyway, a belt melted, and I ended up having to call a tow truck. My husband waited for the tow truck while my neighbor drove me and Lucas home. Oh, and here's the best part. I'm sitting here, and I'm in the van. I'm stressed out. I've got, you know, my husband on his way, my kid crying, food for all my family, like, sitting there, and I'm like, and Alyssa calls me, because I called her to let her know I was picking up dinner and on my way. She calls me and she says, where on earth are you, mother? And I said, I'm sitting on the side of the road with your bleeding, crying brother, waiting for your dad to get here. And she's like, what? She thought we got into a car accident and Lucas was hurt. I wasn't even thinking. And I was like, oh my gosh, no. He fell at the park. That's why he's bleeding. The car broke down. That's why I'm at the side of the road. We're fine. So then we get home, and the van was finally fixed. Actually, it took a while. The van literally, this was on Tuesday that this happened. The van just got fixed yesterday. My husband thought he had it fixed on Wednesday or Thursday, because he thought that it was just this hose, but it turns out that we needed a whole new pump for the power steering. But it wasn't that expensive, like $100, and then he fixed it himself, so at least that's good. Alright, anyway, tomorrow we will do Necky's Revenge. Just want to tell you guys that story of poor Lucas is never going to go to the park again, and I'm pretty sure he's going to hate everyone named Chad now. Yeah, so that was it. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye.